Well, off the back of that Doctor Strange 2 trailer and the previous trailer breakdown video that was here, I said, hey, have you got any theories? Have you got any speculations? Is there anybody in particular that you want to see in this movie? And a bunch of you left comments, so that's what this is. Leave a like if you could. Let's get stuck right in, starting with a question from Sam who says, so I'm not clear. Does Doctor Strange remember doing the spell for Peter Parker after he forgot he was Spider-Man? Does Strange just remember wiping Spider-Man's identity? You being unclear about that makes sense because it wasn't explicitly spelt out. I know a number of people have different theories. What I think potentially happened is that, yeah, he knows Spider-Man. He did all these little adventures with Spider-Man. He maybe remembers doing a spell for Spider-Man, but he doesn't know who he is. Just like how the rest of the world, they know there's a Spider-Man, but nothing else beyond that. Maybe we'll get some clarification of that in the movie. N. Davis says, I think it goes way deeper than Strange meddling with the Spider-Man alternate realities. I believe the crime was ultimately him altering the events of the battle with Thanos. That moment, he went through all the realities where the Avengers lost in Infinity War. I believe there wasn't a reality they won, and he manufactured one, and that's what really set things off. Just a guess though, shrug emoji. Yeah, maybe. I mean, that's also got to have some kind of ramification. Him just checking out what's going on in millions of different dimensions or whatever. But also from the very get-go, he's all about upsetting the timeline. The first Doctor Strange movie ended with him reversing time. He got stuck in that time loop with Dormammu. So it might have got to a point where he's kept doing a number of things. And the multiverse is just like, enough! Stop doing all the things you do. We hate you. Sleepy Bastard said, Shuma-Gorath is presumably the character seen in the trailer, but called Gargantos because of legal issues. The character of Shuma-Gorath itself is actually a property of, to my knowledge, Netflix, as it's technically a Conan character, which is not owned by Marvel Studios on the movie side. Yeah, I saw this a few times and this is news to me. I did not know that. I guess it's also like one of those situations where there's a Merlin in the Marvel universe, but there's also Merlin in like every other fantasy world. So I guess they just borrowed the name Shuma-Gorath at one point. But it's got to the point where they looked into it and went, well, maybe we can't actually use that because it's owned by somebody else. It's not a public domain thing. So you've actually answered a question that I had. I appreciate it. This is from Justin, who says, I heard rumors of Rachel McAdams playing dual roles in this movie. One as Christine Palmer from the regular MC universe, but also as Clea from another universe. That would be interesting since the Palmer from the first Doctor Strange movie is being married off. So this opens up a chance for Doctor Strange and Clea relationship that mirrors the comics. What are your thoughts, fellas? I think that's a pretty solid theory. And we also know that people from different dimensions can look like other people. The Ralph Boner thing, for example. There's a guy who happens to look exactly like Quicksilver in the MCU. And yeah, Clea, I guess, would make sense because she is the Sorcerer Supreme from like the Dark Dimension or something. And they have a lot of interactions in the comics. And I get the feeling that we're probably going to see a bunch of different Sorcerer Supremes in this. Good as any. Variable Penguin says, I'm still holding out that the mutants in the main MCU have been around all along, but Professor X has kept that information from everyone through his powers and Cerebro, so that when he inevitably gets Professor X'd, suddenly the world will be full on mutants, and that will create the mutant panic. I like this theory a lot. Whether or not it's going to happen or not, that's a different question. But yeah, for those who don't know, Professor X is a theory or a saying that we have on my podcast, The Weekly Planet, where we talk movies and comics and TV shows that I do with my good friend Nick Mason, where in order to advance the story and increase the danger and threat in the X-Men universe, they always have to Professor X, as in like take him off the table, remove his powers, put him in a coma, lock him in a mind palace or whatever, something like that. And yeah, I like that idea that maybe mutants have been around this entire time and he's been helping just put a lid on it, you know what I mean? And then if like hundreds of thousands of them appear all at once, yeah, people would probably have a big panic about it. Good theory. Ask a Cat says, my biggest question is who will Bruce Campbell play in this? I hope a variant on an existing MCU character. So yeah, Bruce Campbell, if you don't know, is a good friend of Sam Raimi. They made the Evil Dead movies together, and he's cameoed in most, if not all of his movies, I want to say. He popped up multiple times in the Spider-Man trilogy, and I guess if he had to make an appearance, alternate reality Mysterio would make sense, because they were going to do that in Spider-Man 4, seeing as that is, I was going to say canon. It's not canon, but that was an idea that they had at one point. Screaming Viking says, prediction! The Wanda inside... Sorry, just the screaming thing. I'll read it normally. Prediction. The Wanda inside Westview is a Wanda who, for whatever reason, didn't let it go, wouldn't lower the hex, and has maintained the delusion for years. Everything and everyone she ever wanted trapped in her little playhouse. Could very well be, yeah. It could also be the Wanda that just maybe got everything she wanted. Maybe Vision didn't die and she managed to set up a home. But yeah, just like a lot of other characters in this, yes, I'd imagine we're going to see a bunch of different Wandas show up during this movie. I like this one from Jack Elder, who says, I believe that the Zombie Strange variant is actually Defender Strange. Their costumes look very similar, black with red accents. Zombie Strange has a lot of damage though. Maybe that shot where we see the Defender Strange falling through one of America Chavez's portals, he has been infected and they're trying to send him to another universe to contain him. I like that a lot, that some of these Doctor Stranges in this trailer are actually the same Doctor Stranges and different horrible things have befallen them. Maybe even Defender Strange is a version who was on the Illuminati. And we will get to the Illuminati in a bit. I'm going to talk so much about the Illuminati and different cameos, your head's going to spin. You're going to be like, James, please stop talking about the Illuminati. You are literally making me sick, physically ill. X-Man 99 says, we see the bloody Wanda variant in the Illuminati's compound. I have a feeling that she's going to kill the members of the Illuminati. Then the Captain Marvel variant will come in to fight Wanda following the massacre. So yeah, it seems as if Maria Rambeau is in this movie, maybe not necessarily as the regular MCU version, but a Captain Marvel version who sits on the Illuminati Council, and they do have a bit of a bust up. But I think this theory that maybe she kills some of the Illuminati, or all of them, holds a lot of weight. There is that moment where she's covered in blood, and also you see that she's got some blue splattering on her. And if this is a variation on Captain Marvel and also a Kree, and she does kill her, then that would explain that mess going on there. So yeah, there you go. Ryan says, I have a personal theory that the reshoots this movie were undergoing was actually just them filming scenes with all the different cameo appearances, lining up with various celebrities' schedules. 100% I also think this is the case. It wasn't like an official line from Marvel or anything, but there are a lot of rumors circulating that, yeah, that's pretty much what the reshoots were. And also in anticipation for Spider-Man and knowing how well that was going to do, or did, depending when these took place. Yeah, why not chuck in a few dozen more? Betterine says, I hope RDJ doesn't come back. He had a good send-off. Then again, Doolittle didn't do so well. So maybe, I don't know. One could say Doolittle did little. I'm sorry. Never be sorry. That was the best joke that's ever been on this channel, including all the content that I've put out. No, I also hope he doesn't come back yet, because I feel like there hasn't even been enough time to kind of miss that character, you know? Look at like Michael Keaton, for example. It's been like 30 years since he played Batman, and the anticipation for him to come back, it's huge, you know what I mean? But if they'd have brought him back in, say, I don't know, 2002, I don't think people would have cared as much, you know? You need people to kind of miss the character and then have a nostalgia for the character, and then they build up a bit of hype, and then they'll bring him back. Again, as I've said before, I think he's absolutely going to come back. But yeah, like you said, I hope it's not in this movie, or at least not in a major capacity. A says, I heard a rumor that it was Tom Cruise's Iron Man fighting Wanda, but it also looks like Monica Rambeau to me. So yeah, this is the theory that's been floating around. That character that's all lit up is not in fact Monica Rambeau, but the Tom Cruise version of Iron Man. Now, if he is in this movie, which a lot of people are speculating that he is, I don't think it's clear from this trailer. It could be him. Yeah, I don't think this is necessarily, but if it is him, it's really not clear enough to tell who this person is. Again, it doesn't rule out that he's in the movie, but we'll just have to see what's going on. Italo says, do you think Howard Stark Iron Man sitting with the Illuminati is a possibility? We would see a recognizable face that could kind of make sense as an alternate universe Iron Man. Also, a safe replacement that isn't as complicated as getting Tom Cruise. You could absolutely do that. You could do young Howard Stark. You could do old Howard Stark. You could do in between Howard Stark, where it's old Howard Stark, but they've dyed his hair or given him a wig to make him youngish Howard Stark. You could do original Howard Stark from the first Iron Man movie, who they ditched big time. No, I don't think it's going to be Howard Stark, but it would be an excellent option to get any of those people. But I could be wrong. I feel like I need to say I could be wrong, because then after the movie comes out or we get more information, people come back and they're like, actually, you blah. So I guess I should preface the rest of this by saying I could be wrong about everything that I'm saying here. Steven says, think there is any chance that Toby Maguire's Peter Parker will show up to reunite him with director Sam Raimi? Yes! I don't want to say 100% because I could be wrong, but yes, it would be bizarre to me if that didn't happen in some respect. I mean, they've worked together before. We just saw him in the last Spider-Man movie. Yes, I think that is going to happen. And again, as I've said before, please make Spider-Man 4. Let's see it. Ben says, what do you think that the Illuminati will include a newer, less TV version of Black Bolt from the Inhumans? As a big fan of the comic book Inhumans, and am a fan of Anson Mount, who played Black Bolt but didn't get a fair shot, Do you think there's a chance, or would you even like to see a soft reboot version of the character on the Illuminati? Also, those chairs in the trailer that are empty will just be for the trailer. They'll have people in them when the film rolls. I mean, yeah, they change trailers all the time. So for that last bit, yes, probably, or good chance that that's the case. But yeah, as for the Inhumans TV show, we did a couple of videos on it on this channel for Caravan of Garbage. Not good. A dreadful show. But you can't really say that it's not cast well and that anybody in it is bad, because neither of those things, I think, are true. And Anson Mount, yeah, he's great. He's good in new old Star Trek. He's good in that show where he's a cowboy. He's good in other things. And so, yeah, I think he would make a really good Black Bolt. And honestly, I'd prefer him to Vin Diesel, which was the rumor for a time. So yeah, if it is going to be anybody, let's make it him. Why not? And you know, that character lives in Hawaii, so he could easily join the council because they know where he is. Matt Baker Jones says, could Deadpool make an appearance? Some people online have been looking at all the shards on the new poster and think they can see Deadpool in a small shard on the top left near Wong's shard. I don't know about that, whether he's on the poster. But yes, this would be the perfect opportunity to drop a Deadpool cameo. Deadpool also has some kind of time but also space machine that he got in Deadpool 2. Remember at the end when he went through multiple timelines, but maybe also realities? I don't know. But yeah, Deadpool's all about multiple realities and jumping between dimensions and stuff. So yes, even if it's a very brief cameo, why not chuck in a Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool? Kai says, I like this one a lot. I think the Ultron bots having yellow eyes is an indication that they're not made in the lineage of a Tony Stark Ultron, but rather a Hank Pym Ultron. And we see a version of Hank Pym that created Ultron, but it turned out well because this is Marvel, and by way of the MCU, so far, Tony Stark is the leading cause of any remotely scientific issue, etc. and so forth. More theories and evidence that this might be the case. So yeah, you might know this, but in the comics, the father of Ultron is not Tony Stark. It is Hank Pym, the original Ant-Man. They had this long and drawn-out history together and a hatred for each other. And yeah, they are different-looking Ultron bots, so why not make it a Hank Pym? That would be fun and cool. But again, I don't know whether that's true or not. Ghosty Fierce says, getting cameos and inter-franchise references is cool and all, but I just want to see a well-told story. In an interview with Mark Maron, Cumberbatch mentioned that there's so much stuff in the movie that he wondered if Strange even has a character arc at all. I don't want the multiverse to become canned nostalgia that Marvel can just pour on for more ticket sales. I mean, yeah, that's definitely a trap that they could fall into, but also the people behind this, in particular Kevin Feige, I think is really good at finding the line between like nostalgia, what the fans want, and also what's best for the franchise. And I think, you know, we'll get like a Spider-Man No Way Home and something like this, where there's a buttload of cameos, excuse my language, and then they'll do like a different thing, like a Shang-Chi, or an Eternals, or like a wacky Thor movie and whatever. So I think, yes, some of these will be, you know, like a bunch of cameos and this and that. But if they can kind of walk that line, then you can strike a good balance, you know? And also the ones with a bunch of cameos probably would do really well commercially. So I don't think they're going to stop anytime soon. But I understand your fear. And this is a good one to end on from JMO. An interesting topic I would love to hear you guys talking about is the end of the MCU. I mean, like, how much until we get a full reboot of all the universe? Cinematic universes don't last forever, or do they? I think it's an interesting topic that is talked about little. And that's a great question, and something I do not have the answer to. But I think ultimately, when this whole thing stops, and I mean completely stops, it will be because it's not financially viable. That will be the death of the universe. I think they're going to put like definitive endpoints for specific sagas. Of course, like the Infinity Saga and whatever this current saga is in, this will come to an end at some point. Or the multiverse stuff, I guess. But yeah, I think that is the plan, to kind of do it in big chapters, introduce new characters, and keep this going for as long as possible. How long? Well, like I said, with the money thing, as long as the money is still there. This will come to an end eventually, and that end might be a comet hits the Earth and they have to stop making them because everybody's dead. But I can't see Disney going, yeah, let's just give this a rest for like 10 years, or just stopping it completely. It just doesn't seem on the cards. Right now, at least. Anyways, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you for sending so many questions. What wonderful ideas everybody has. I had a very good time recording this and going through all your ideas and theories. And if you got any more, leave them below. Maybe I'll do another one of these. I mean, probably not anytime soon, but maybe I will. Maybe you'll put a theory down below and then I'll just say it later, not realizing that it was you that put the theory here and I take credit for it when in fact I have stolen that idea. Apologies in advance for when I inevitably do that. But hey, if you like this and you'd like to see more, of course you can subscribe, Or you could head over to bigsandwich.co, which is like our private Patreon service. If you do want to sign up, it's $9 a month. There's bonus podcasts. There's movie commentaries. We've done a bunch of MCU stuff if you are interested, among many other movies. Early videos like Caravan of Garbage go up there early. And of course, our podcast called The Weekly Planet, where we talk movies and comics and TV shows. That normally comes out on Monday on its own YouTube channel and iTunes and Spotify and the like, but it goes up there ad-free a day early at bigsandwich.co. All of it's ad-free, by the way, because you pay money for it. And that would be uncool if you paid money for it, then I put ads on it. You know what I mean? Anyways, thanks for watching this. I appreciate it. Thanks for Matt for the edit. And let's all do something else, all right? Separately, individually. Let's all go our own ways for now. Okay, goodbye.